Hi and welcome to my tutorial on how to install GLFW for Windows, how to set it up, compile it, make it, install it, etc. For this we're going to actually have to need to install a few more other packages and various tools in order to make it work. Basically we're going to need now with the new GLFW, we're going to need the Vulkan SDK, we're going to need Gnu-Make, Doxygen, Cmake, MinGW, 32 or 64-bit version, doesn't matter, and obviously GLFW source folder or source zip. Alright, so first we're going to download GLFW and download that. Okay, I've already got it, so I'm not going to need it. Next we're going to need GNU Vulkan SDK, so we'll have to that. Now you might actually not use Vulkan. Vulkan is another alternative to OpenGL, which is much more closer to the machine code, and it allows you to create faster working graphics programs, because it doesn't actually it cuts the line between the CPU and the graphics card. Nevertheless, you might never actually use it, but we still need to actually have it in order to make install. So just go to Luna G Vulkan, download the source code. Well, this will actually be an installation setup, so you go to Windows, obviously. It is an installer, so just download the first one. I already got it, so we'll start with this. Yes. Choose where you want to install it. See, for me it's going to be C Vulkan SDK 1.0. Let that run. It shouldn't take too long. Next thing we're going to need is Gnu-Make. It's going to make GNU. Actually, hang on, not this one. Windows, we need the Windows version, which is the SourceForge version. So just download the setup. It's going to be a complete package. Download that. This is finished. Let that run. That's already run for me. Install it after it's run. Right, my one is Gnu-Make should be. It's not it. Make, sorry, here it is. So just run through that. Full installation, binaries, documentation. Make. Download sources. This is actually offering me to uninstall because I've already got it, so I'm not going to go through with that. Once that's installed, we also need Doxygen. Doxygen for Windows. Downloads. We need the Windows binary, so just go FTP or HTTP, doesn't matter. Once that's downloaded, just run it. I've already got it, so it saves both of us time. Here it is. Run it. Accept, whatever. Find out where it's gone in case you need to know that information. Install it. We need Cmake as well. Go straight to downloads. Download the Windows 64-bit or the Windows 3286, whichever one you want to use. You can, if you've got a 64-bit system, which most people do today, just install the 64-bit version. Right. I've already got it again. Make sure this is finished. There. So basically, it's going to give you an option to remove or repair, because I've already got it installed, so I'm not going to do that. It saves us time here as well. You don't have to watch me download it and install it again. MinGW 32 or 64-bit. Now that I'm not going to go through installing that because I've got other videos you can have a look at. Just look up in my channel, you can find how to install MinGW 64-bit and 32-bit, right? And finally, we already have GLFW downloaded. Just basically download the source files, right? And unzip that, right? I put mine on my desktop because we're going to have to do a lot of these things from command prompt. Right, so move GLFW just to your desktop so you can actually access it much easier. Right, before we actually go on with any of this, make sure environmental variables has all the necessary paths. So you're gonna have to add the Vulkan SDK bin in order that you can run the Vulkan binaries. Some of these things you might not actually need to run. You might actually need to add that. Let's remove this because you don't need to add this. Let me just have a quick check. Alright. Yeah, you don't need to. Okay, so you don't need to actually add this to your system path variables. So let's get rid of that. Obviously, make sure you got MinGW. Make sure you add your make. Right. So wherever you've installed make, you're gonna have to add that as well. So mine is in C GNU Win32 binary. It's there. Make sure you've added that. Right. Make sure you've added Cmake to your system path, as well as make sure you've added Doxygen to your system path. So just just obviously where you've installed them, just edit. Oops. Wherever you've installed them, just make a new entry and just put in the path to it wherever it is. We might actually not need Doxygen bin, but definitely need Cmake, GNU, Make, and MinGW. Might not need Cmake. I'll check. Oh, we do need Cmake. We do actually need to have Cmake. Alright, once all of that is done, right, we just go and check Cmake. Yeah, so you do need to actually add it. Alright, so once all of that is done, next thing we need to do is actually apply and obviously. Next thing we need to do is to run command prompt. Go to our desktop. Go to GLFW. Before we do anything here, we actually are going to have to run Cmake, run the GUI version because it's much easier. Browse to the source of where your GLFW unzip, where you unzipped your GLFW source. So in this case, for me, it's going to be desktop GLFW 3.2.1. Right. Choose where you want to build the binaries. You're going to have to make a new folder for this. I've made it just called GLFW. Right. And finally, choose where you want to actually install everything. So I've just decided to install it into GLFW, right? All my includes, libs, etc. That's where it's going to finally finish up. So once all of that is done, right? Once you've chosen that, make sure that you actually unclick build tests, GLFW build tests. Make sure you unclick that because there's an issue right now with Vulkan that exists. You can have a look at it on the Git page for GLFW. So if we go to GLFW GitHub, you'll see that there's an issue with MSYS and Vulkan. I'll just have to find it where it is. It should be here somewhere. Vulkan. Okay, it's not. Yeah, it's not this one. Oh, yeah, there it is. So there's an issue right now with linking error with Vulkan, and there's another even more important issue which I can't seem to find right now. Nevertheless, it does exist. So just unclick build tests, press configure once, configure twice. You shouldn't have any errors here. If you have any errors here, then just post what your error is and we'll try and figure it out. Right, so you press configure twice, then you click generate. Right, once that's done, generation's done, you can actually close this. Go to your file where you built GLFW. Right, there should be a make file in there. You should see a make file in there. So just write make mine is I already did this process, so let me just delete this so you can see what it looks like, what it's supposed to look like. Alright, so let me configure again. Configure again. And generate. So we should have a file called GLFW. Where is it? Here it is. Right, and now when we go back into commands, cd desktop cd w. Right, now there should be a make file there. We just run make, and it'll start to build all our objects and things. I'm gonna have to wait a little bit for this. Shouldn't take too long. And make install. And there we are done. Alright, so now we have our creation of all our libraries and our headers. As you can see here, it's put into GLFW, all of them for me. So just take these and put them into your MinGW folder. So I'll take include and lib, copy them both, paste them in here, and it should have merged them, which it probably did. GLFW is there. I'll probably take this out and put it in here just to make it a bit easier when I'm actually including it into my programs. And the lib should have been just fine, lib GLFW3. That's it, so that's everything. Now that you've done that, you should have a fully functioning GLFW, latest GLFW version, GLFW3. That's it. So hopefully that made work for you just as well, and if you have any issues, just post them in the comments and we'll try and sort them out. Cheers.